I'm going to have children. You've probably thought about that to yourself a time or two, or you've maybe told a significant other or a spouse that, or maybe you said it to yourself out loud, talking to yourself. But honestly, let's just think about it for a minute. I want you to think about it for a minute. Think about it from a financial standpoint. Listen, excessive spending, high education costs, and within the home, inevitable costs. 3 things I want you to take away today. Just think about having a child. We're going to get right into it, okay? First thing I just want to talk about is how much parents spend on their children. It's insane. Overcompensating is nothing uncommon with children and their parents these days. In the United States, for the average 12-year-old, parents spend over $6,000 per year. In Canada, it's not much better. It's over $4,000. That's insane. Where's your money going? I understand you love your children, but think about it from a financial standpoint. It is a little bit of an issue, and it doesn't look like it's being solved anytime soon. These statistics come from Budgeting for Basic Needs, a website of reliable data. Now, Christopher Sarlo, who wrote an article titled "The Cost of Raising Children," writes that again, beyond this needs level of spending on children, parents will spend directionary amounts that vary widely depending on several key factors, including parenting style, disposable income, wealth, level of economic security, and other obligations. He also says that parents will always strive to provide more than essential requirements as their situation permits. It's not an uncommon practice where parents want to provide more than they actually can. But what really truly shows this in a more specific case is university costs and paying for a heavy, expensive college education. For the majority of young adults, like you, probably watching this presentation, college is in your line of sight. And as the prices do tend to go up, parents are still willing to pay for their children's education. It's all out of love and making sure their child gets a secondary education. Forbes actually put out an article not too long ago saying that this may cost families $715 million more over the next 10 years. With the climate college rates, the pressure on families is only getting worse. As the rates go up, the pressure goes up because parents are still paying for their children's college education. And that could be you one day. Just think about it. As a son of a single parent myself, getting assistance with paying for college, I understand the pressure in the household of having to pay for a college education. And think a whole entire separate issue that still has to do with college education is dropping out and money lost with all of that. Denhart continues with another statement saying that debt costs you time and savings, pushes back when and whether you can buy a home, start a family, open a small business, or access capital. As unfortunate as it sounds, the cost of sending children to college puts parents and children into a college debt trap. And you know this. It is all over the place. College debt, student loans, you hear it all the time. And still, with parents paying for college education, it's a trap. The most recent data from educationdata.org puts it that the dropout rate is at 40%, and it's still going up to this day. It's getting worse, and more parents are losing their money. Do you want to be part of that? Though not all children need parental assistance with further education, there are just some inevitable things that put financial pressure on parents, specifically in the household. The addition of having children in the household means that you might have to expand to a bigger house or an apartment, which you might not even be able to afford. Sarlo also says in the same article that children are forced investments, and at some point parents require a larger home to suit a change in their lifestyle. That larger home is, at the same time, a bigger investment with potentially large returns. He continues on this, saying, for example, a low-income couple living in a 1-bedroom apartment may require a 2-bedroom apartment to accommodate a child, and they might as well not even be able to afford that. This comes with the cost of having children. The need to expand into a larger residence is inevitable when a couple decides to have children, almost always. And the costs within the home itself are a whole entire another issue. They add up to build even more pressure on the parents. And I'm still sticking to the idea of costs that relate to the home. He provides an illustration. This is Chris Sarlo again. That says that there's a direct correlation between a couple of parents' disposable income and spending on children. The more the income, the more spending. It's just a direct correlation, and it's increasing. And now, in my final source that I found is the cost of raising a child from the United States Department of Agriculture itself. Mark Leno writes on this one just recently that for a middle-income family, housing accounts for the largest share at 29% of total child-rearing costs. That is a big portion. That's almost a third of costs. In other words, an increase in home-related expenditures comes from a direct connection with having and raising children. It's important to remember the big idea comes from other sources, not just inside the home. Think about the big picture all over again. It comes from three things I told you in the beginning of this speech, this presentation. The first is overspending, and then the increasing cost of college education, and then everything that has to do with inside the home. And because of these factors, it's something that one should truly look at from all sides, especially in a financial standpoint. You work hard for your money. Is it time for your hard work to compete with potential love for a child? It's not an easy decision to make, and that's entirely up to you. But just think about the points I talked about today, because they could very well affect you, and you could have your own child one day. But just think about that before you make that move. That's all I'm trying to say, and that's all I have for you.